All right, guys, welcome back to the Late Night Level Up. I'm your host, Jason Farrell. Today we have with us somebody who needs no introduction, but I'll introduce him anyway, Mr. Shane Fazen of Fight Tips. How are you, brother?
Good, sir. Thank you for having me on. How you doing?
Man, I'm great. I'm really excited to have you on. I have a bunch of questions I'm excited to ask and just kind of go through your journey for those that don't know as much of the backstory and know you mostly for your content. I thought it'd be cool to kind of dig into what led you up to that and what keeps it going and all that kind of stuff too. So we met for you guys that don't know. We met at the CSA Coaches Clinic, which has become like one of like the best networking groups I think that's going on in combat sports now. I think because
Right.
it's such a cool thing because you go in and you get all this amazing knowledge, all these great drills, and learn from all the different people that Kieran from CSA, the head coach, he brings in some really great instructors and coaches and stuff like that. I'm always most excited to get his input and his drills because obviously he's a very successful coach and just an awesome guy all around. But yeah, so that's where we met at the very first one. You were at the very first one. I was at the very first one. I feel like that was like the OG group.
I think it may have been like the second for me.
Was it the
Because I
second
remember
one?
I
Or
remember
did
Val said he was at the first one. He said there was like 6 people there or something. I forget. You may be
maybe I
right.
came to the second one. It was at
It
the
was the
old
first legitimate
location.
one.
And yeah, maybe he did one before that and I just didn't realize it too. That could have been it. But I know
Yeah.
I'm sure, yeah, so maybe it was the second one. But
Yeah.
that one, I feel like that one was like that was like the big one that really like kind of kicked everything off. And I think it was and I'm pretty sure you were at that one. I know that's me. And so the funny thing is me and Steve Rosillo got really tight at that one, whatever one that was. That was the one that Steve and I got really close. We partnered up and we're like partners all weekend and stuff like that. So I feel like that becomes like your dog after that, because you
Yeah,
kind of go
man.
through it all together. And it's funny because Steve is from the area here. We call the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia. We had actually had students fight each other a lot. I think I've fought more people from Capital than any other gym in the game, which is pretty funny because we were always cool before that, but we got even closer after the coaches clinic. I think so. That one was. I'm trying to think what I think. Dwayne was there for that one. Noom and Period.
Uh,
I think those are the main. Those are like
yeah.
the main three people.
Yeah. And what year was that?
20. I think it was
2016?
2015.
Yeah, I think you're right.
They get jumbled up. There's been a bunch now. We've been to a bunch of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
lost
we've
track,
been to
8
a
or
bunch
9
of
at this
them.
point.
Yeah,
Two a year for 6 years.
yeah. I've
Well,
been
of course,
missing it.
last year
Been wanting to
last year
go.
got canceled
Right,
like everything
right.
else.
Yeah, with everything going on, it's been hard for them to run that, and they've had to even pivot just in general, trying to figure out their gym operations over there. California's
He should
been
have
crazy.
did a virtual one. I would have jumped on that just as quick. I'd have paid
Yeah,
the same amount of money.
that's true. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I'm surprised he hasn't. I'm sure he'll probably be able to do one at some point soon. And I know
Yeah.
he's particular about how he wants to do it, so he probably wants people there. But yeah, I'm sure everyone would show up virtually just the same way they would physically, just to get the information. He just dropped that thing on dynamic striking that has some drills and stuff that was recognizable. I bought it just to obviously to support and see what was on there. There's a lot of stuff that we've covered in the coaches
Yeah.
clinic, and I was like, hey, I know that drill, so that was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, I had to share that. That was cool to see. I was like, it's about time, Coach K.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I mean, for you, I mean, you're going to get more knowledge because it's not necessarily you're not necessarily in a situation where you need to network. I think you got your network pretty solidified at this point. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. We're working on some big things. It's funny you use the word network because we're we're going to be releasing our own social media platform, basically for martial artists. We want to make it the biggest network of martial artists, have coaches and fighters on there. There's going to be a lot of really cool features, like find training partners near you. You have location services turned on, so you can find people in your area where you want to train with them or match make fights. That's going to be a super powerful feature. Got the courses on there.
Yeah.
And then, it's going to be organized by topics and groups. Right now it's invite only, but we're looking to launch early next month in April.
That's super exciting.
It's going to be big, man. It's going to be big. Yeah, it's Fight Tips will finally be at the stage that I've always pictured it. I just didn't have like the money or resources to do it. But with our growth, we were able to finally put it together. So we've been working hard on it, but it's going to be big.
That's badass. I'm excited to check it out. You know, I don't know if a couple of years ago, I started it and it was kind of exactly what you're saying. Just kind of ran it. You know what? We had the funding for the part that we wanted to do. And then we kind of decided to pivot. So, and I kind of kept it under wraps. And then, cause I was like, I don't want anybody to steal my idea, but it was, it didn't matter. So I was going to do a thing called Strike Pass, and I was planning on kind of like making, basically UFC Fight Pass, but mostly focus on, Muay Thai and kickboxing, and kind of streamline as much of the striking combat sports onto like one thing. Cause that was always my frustration, is like how many apps or like sites or whatever you have to just try to find Lion Fight or try to find Triumphant or whatever. So my ultimate goal would eventually been to like get all of them to, even if maybe it had to be like the next day, they would all eventually be on that site. And then that way you could go to one place to see everything. And then we pivoted away from that to start the site Knockaround, which sounds a little similar to what you're doing, but I think it's probably a lot less. So Knockaround basically, and so I'm going to put the finishing touches on this pretty soon. Actually, I put it up on pause with all the pandemic and all the other stuff, but it's basically just a place where you can upload your fight record and your your information and stuff like that, kind of like Tapology, but for Muay Thai and kickboxing.
Nice.
So we're gonna finish that up. I reached out to my guys, like, man, we need to get back on Knockaround, because I was talking to Jeff Quarles from Triumphant a couple weeks ago, and he was saying how Canada has started like a ranking system, and it's tough here, obviously, for us, because we have, you have WKA, you have WBC, you have IKF, then you have all the tournaments and stuff like that. So what we're going to do on Knockaround is it'll be an unofficial ranking system, but it'll be, based off people fighting at all those places. And similar to what you're saying, my plan was that it would be a little easier sometimes for the promoters to go in there and type in, I need a 160-pound fighter that's got, 10 plus fights or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's sick, man. That's a great idea. I wonder if we could somehow connect them.
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll talk after this. We won't give y'all motherfuckers away all our secrets. Yeah. But yeah, I was just what you're talking about, and I'm like, man, maybe we should try to find a way to like connect Knockaround to what you're doing, so it can all just flow together. Because
like
that's also it's also like I think that's a big part of what sometimes holds us back as a community, is when it comes to just Muay Thai and kickboxing, even is like if you have a thing and I have a thing, it'll be like, all right, well, we're going to compete against each other, instead of like, man, that's what slows everything down, I feel like, a lot of times.
Well, yeah, think about it. It's like, it's competitive by nature. It's a competitive sport. So you always have that competitive mindset. But I learned that early on with YouTube, especially. You got to think collaborative over competitive. You got to work together.
I agree. Yeah. And I've always tried. Yeah, for sure. And because you think about we've talked about this on a bunch of different podcasts about trying to determine who is the U.S. fighter that we all want to get behind, as far as like sending them to IFMA, sending them to WACO. Everybody kind of collectively supporting someone so that they get the attention that they need to be a representative on like a one FC or something like that. And I feel
Yeah.
like Janet's a perfect example of that because she's one of the people that everyone's pretty much collectively got behind and been like, she's the best. That we all love her. We can't wait to
Hmm.
see her fight, on this or whatever Janet decided to do. As a community, we're all pretty much behind her. It's very rare you'll find anyone that's like, I don't like Janet Todd. I don't want to see her go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, can you imagine if we were able to develop that for multiple fighters from the US, like how much easier it would be for them as a professional athlete to get onto, one FC and these other shows because now they have that value of the audience and the support that would make it interesting for one FC to be like, okay, we want to bring this person over and have them fight somebody from Thailand or Singapore or
Yeah.
wherever. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
I
it's
and
it's good. It's good for the fighters. It's good for the sport,
yeah.
just in general, the growth of the sport. And I think like nowadays, as compared to 15 years ago, it is way more collaborative.
Mhm.
I think it was like still new to the States, and
Yeah.
everyone was like, my style, my way, my fighters, and they
Right.
were just trying to like build themselves up. And
Yeah.
now it's everyone's working together with things like what Coach K is doing with the Coaches Clinic. I
Yes.
think things like that help a lot. I think the internet is helping
Hmm.
share and connect people together. So I think we're on the right path.
For sure. And I think the next step is finding ways to get the promoters to work together a little bit more from
Mm.
shows, and then same with like the tournament running um sanctioning bodies, WKA, IKF, obviously like USMTO, like getting TBA, getting all those guys to try to find a way to work together in some manner to help kind of determine, okay, this is so I talked about this with Jeff a little bit. So one of the things I always said is, as amateur in a region, you'll get a fighter who sells a lot of tickets.
Mm.
And sometimes, because they sell a lot of tickets, the promoters will help them get some fights to keep them winning. Um, and the only issue with that is from the outside in, we're like, oh, okay, that guy's 20 and 0 or whatever it is. Like, that's the guy. Like, we need to like that. I can't wait to see him start, go to Glory or go to one FC. And then the only problem is that they haven't been fighting always super tough competition. And then the blowback from it is um the world being like, see, America sucks. Like, and I'm like, oh, no, you can't, don't like group us into that one person. Like, you don't understand how they got there sometimes.
Yeah.
um so that's, for me, I think it's just in the realm of Muay Thai and kickboxing. Like, that's one of the other things I'm hoping that knock around and what you're doing, we can help kind of like flush out the people that are really good and help the world kind of see them more and build up that fan base that makes it valuable for those big organizations to bring them on, and we have a representative that people are going to be like, damn, that's the guy, like a Janet or
Yeah.
like a Troy Jones. Like, there's some outliers out there that are really good that we just got to make sure we're all getting behind. So that's part of the thing I'm hoping to do with Knockaround too. Like I said, there'll be unofficial rankings, but I won't be glued to any particular sanctioning body to where I have to be like, well, they're the best,
Mm.
WBC person or whatever. I'm like, to me, based off of all the fights they have, Jason Farrell thinks that they're the best in this weight class, and that's all. I'm just giving you my opinion, basically. But hopefully, it'll
Right.
start to hold a little bit of value and help some of those, like I said, those big shows, like pick some people. Even with the Rise show, the Rise Muay Thai show that I've been doing here in DC. So we'll do a 4-person one night tournament for a amateur WBC. We're just doing amateur, but trying to kind of create that feeder system to figure out who should go pro and get some good looks at the pro level as well too. I did my best every one of those 4-person tournaments to have a WK champion, a TBA champion, a USMTO champion,
Mm.
and an IKF champion, all like tournament champions. So it's like, okay, they all won these tournaments. now we're gonna put them all into this tournament, and they're gonna see who
Sick.
comes out of there. So then it's like that person obviously, like, not everyone's able to travel around to all of them either. So if we could, my thought process was, if I can bring them all together just for at least this one event, we can have them kind of square off and see who comes out on top at the end, you know?
That's a sick idea. Yeah, I like
Yeah,
that.
that's the ultimate goal with that show, is to keep trying doing some stuff like that. And then, like I said, that'll make it easy for me when I do the knockaround rankings. Like, that's a pretty clear indicator of that person is probably the best in that weight class if they were able to come out on top of the other 4 people that won in that weight class in all these tournaments and stuff like that. So
Yeah, really. And then,
um,
showcase a lot of fighters. And speaking of, how about Janet and how well she's doing in one?
oh my
Just
God,
fought over the
she's so
weekend.
awesome, man. She's
Yeah,
super cool. We obviously had been a fan of hers before, and I've always been one of the I know a bunch of people have said, but I that I know of, I tried to start this hashtag support the sport back in like 2014. I bought a CSA t-shirt actually before I'd even been out there, and was like, man, we got to support other gyms, and this gym's doing big stuff. And like, um, we got to get behind the American fighters, because they had Kevin, they had all these people there that were coming up. When I was like, we got to just we got to do better about not just hating on people for being where they are. We need to be happy that they're there and try to show some support.
yeah,
And Janet was obviously always one of those people. Anytime something came up to, like, I think there was a thing to like donate or vote or something one time, like way before I met her, and I was sharing it around just like everybody else and stuff too. But yeah, man, she's really awesome. Aaron and I met her for the first time actually in Belarus at the IFMA World Championship, when Aaron fought that year,
yeah,
and Janet fought that year, and that's where I finally got to meet Brian, who I'm obviously a huge fan of as well too. Brian Popejoy, the head coach and owner of Boxing Works, is Janet's coach, Jackie's coach, Nathan's coach. I mean, he's one of the best to ever do it as well too. Just constantly churning out killers.
yeah,
And
right.
you get over there to train with them too when you can too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. When I was living over there, I was training over there. It's a great environment over there. I love Brian. Such a
Yeah.
good guy. So authentic, down to earth, and the whole team just so friendly. They're
Yeah.
such good people over there.
Yeah.
It's just
Brian
so
is
funny because they're
awesome. And
absolute killers.
Tiki. Yeah. Everyone's
Yeah,
amazing.
Tiki up.
There's
Yeah,
a guy you might have trained with, maybe, his name's Steve. He's a southpaw, kind of got long hair. Y'all are about similar build too. He's probably about your same weight. I mean, you probably see so many people, but
probably. Yeah,
yeah, Steve was one of my students that actually he moved out there. He like worked for the airport. I was pissed too at first, because he was a guy who'd been training for a long time and was really, really good. And I just finally, like, he wasn't really comfortable like doing smokers, and didn't he wanted to compete but wasn't really super comfortable about it at first.
yeah,
um and I literally just got him to finally do a smoker, and he crushed this guy, and I was like, see, man, I was like, get your ass in there.
yeah.
And then he got this job. It was an awesome opportunity to move to California, and I was like, fuck.
Ah,
But then he ended up at Boxing Works, so I was super happy, because I was like, all right, that's good. Then
that's
you're gonna
cool.
be in awesome hands out there. And I always see him in videos and stuff, training with everybody and doing his thing. So I'm glad he continued on after moving to keep training. And he's just, even just in the room, he's just a really good guy to have in the room. Really good sparring partner. Super nice guy. He fits in perfectly with all the other people there. You and I have some similarities in our martial arts journey as well too. So I started in Taekwondo when I was 6.
Oh, word?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah. I saw you started when you were 9. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
early on.
Minger and Lee's Taekwondo.
Yeah, that in Philly.
Yeah, right out. Yeah, they had a location in Philly,
Uh-huh.
and then right outside of Philly. Yeah, and
That's
my
awesome.
dad trained under the same owner. Got his black belt from
Oh wow.
Mr. Menger. Yeah,
Oh, that's awesome. I
yeah,
didn't know your dad trained too. That's really cool.
yeah,
So
yeah,
does he just love everything that you're doing with your life? Like,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. He's super supportive. Yeah, yeah. He
That's
got me into
badass.
martial arts. I remember it was around like 8 or 9. He's like, I was getting a little bit older and I was hanging out with friends in Philly, and he was a Philly cop. He just retired last
Oh,
year.
wow. Okay.
And he's like, you got to do something, man. You got to pick up an instrument. You got to play a
Yeah.
sport. So we like went down the list. We tried hockey, roller hockey. I was terrible at it. Soccer. And then he's like, you want to try fighting? You want to try Taekwondo? And it was the only thing that I was like kind of decent at, but I enjoyed it. I just kept rocking with it.
Man, Taekwondo, I think, is probably one of the best starter martial arts for people. And I feel like it catches a bad rap, but it's one of the, I think I'm so grateful that I started off in Taekwondo, because it taught me so much. It taught me a lot about, the mechanics of your body, like how to move things, like, that's where I got being comfortable, not really necessarily having a particular stance, like whether it be orthodox or southpaw, because we switched.
You do everything
so much. Yeah, you just do everything. So how long did you stay in Taekwondo for?
That 4 years, 5 years. Cool. Yeah. And you're right, it does get a bad rap, especially in like the combat sports world. I was just talking to Bob Peach. I was just talking to Pete about this too, and he's like, yeah, it was designed for fighting people on horses. And I was like, well, that's a myth. He talks about like the horse stance, like punching while riding a horse, and flying side kicks for kicking people off horses.
Right.
But like I agree with you, man. Like the switch stance stuff, the repetition, like of just doing the same thing over and over and over again with line drills, the flexibility, the hip rotation. But then like the character building skills, like that, people don't really talk about that, but like reciting the student creed, yes or no, sir, like integrity and discipline and self-control, like that stuff carries over almost in a militaristic way,
right?
To where you just you stay focused on what you're doing, and that I thought was like a perfect base for going into Muay Thai and MMA and everything else.
Absolutely. Yeah, I trained. I stayed in till I was about 12. I got my black belt when I was 12, and then I actually switched to Kyokushin around that time. I think I was around 11 when I switched to Kyokushin. Because it was before I started doing it before I was like kind of like done with Taekwondo. Just I wanted to learn like another style. And actually, I think I told him the story to Jeff when he was on. Because I was like, when I was like 11, 12, I kind of hit like my growth spurt, and that was like where I stopped. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a big kid, And then I was like, and then the world was like, nah, that's it. That's all you get, buddy. But because I was a little bigger, a lot of times like some of the tournaments I would went to, for whatever reason, they would put me with like upper belts and stuff like that. And I was kind of like a brute. Like I had a vicious sidekick. I would like sidekick kids off their feet, and like
let's go.
I was spin kicking people. Like I was I really wanted to like fight, you know what I mean? And this guy, randomly, I wish I would have ever even known who he was, just kind of in passing, like at the tournament, was like, hey man, you're really good at this. And I was all excited that somebody like, pulled me aside to tell me. But he had mentioned, he was like, you should do Kyokushin. He was like, you have a Kyokushin style. You should be a Kyokushin fighter or something like that. And I was like, oh man, I gotta check this out. And then once I found out what it was and saw some of it, I was like, yeah, that's definitely the style that I really wanted to do. And it was because I did a lot of Taekwondo tournaments. I did ones that were continuous, and I did some that were just the point fighting and stuff. And I liked that Kyokushin was you're just rumbling. You could throw. I liked,
was it bare knuckle?
Yeah. And that's why in Taekwondo we had the little a lot of the tournaments we had the little foam sentry things and the little booties and stuff, which is still pretty fucking gangster. I'm like people like shit on it, and I'm like, let me punch you in the face with one of those little foam gloves on.
Right. I know.
So yeah, I tell people all the time, I think one of the biggest things that I took from Taekwondo is it taught me how to be patient and set up strikes. And a lot of people don't think about that. They talk shit about the point fighting, but I'm like, man, point fighting teaches you how to like feint or do whatever you're going to do to set up and land that big strike. Now, it's not that, that fake where, okay, this strike, like I hit them in the chest and like explode their heart, like I understand that. Like I'm not going to knock people
you can
out.
you can snipe. Like
Yeah,
it
you
teaches you how to
learn
snipe.
how to be a sniper and land some
Yeah.
and like set things up. And then once you figure out, okay, because that what I kind of built off of that was, and I tell my fighters all the time, like we want to probe first, then we want to use speed to land something that surprises them to get them to go into a defensive shell, and then that's where we really put something on them, like
Yep.
a combination. So that helped me with that initial how to like blitz and land something that would create an opening for me to do what I really wanted to do. And then I'm, like I said, still to this day it carries on to how I teach my fighters and how I fought and everything too. So I think it's a very slept on martial art, and I think it gets as a bad rap because it definitely, like I said, I feel like you did it, I did it. Some of my best fighters that I've trained had that taekwondo experience too, and
Yeah.
I feel like I'm
That's
able
what
to be like, all right, we're gonna do this, and then you're gonna spin, and they're like, okay, bet,
Yeah, that's what Peach was saying. He's like, they're the most teachable students that I've had
Mhm.
come in here, the guys who have the Taekwondo background.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
I think that goes back to what you said too about the mental discipline and the martial arts mentality, uh, them wanting to learn, them used to doing the tedious stuff, standing on one leg, slowly throwing your sidekick and bringing it out. Like really, I tell people this all the time too, because I'm such a I'm obsessed with technique. Like I want it to
Yeah.
always be good. Like how you throw it is so important to me, and when I teach, that's always been a big part of my teaching too. And I tell them when I was a kid, like in the 80s, there wasn't UFC, there wasn't Glory, there wasn't like a lot of stuff like that. So, they had the kickboxing and obviously boxing that would be on TV and stuff, Rick Rufus and things like that. But
Yeah.
a professional martial artist to me as a kid, what I was looking at was eventually, so you go through the tournament scene, you build up your name, you try to get in like karate kung fu or black belt magazine one day, and then your next step is to become like an actor. So in my mind I was like, your technique has to be flawless because eventually you're gonna have to do it on film one day. So that
Uh,
was always my mentality, was like I have to make sure everything I throw looks super good, and it
that I, you
spilled
know what? I
into
wonder
all
if
my
I like.
stuff.
I wonder if I like subconsciously thought the same thing too,
I'm
growing
sure
up.
a lot of people did and just never really thought of it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Like
in your
Van
mind
Damme's
as a
kicks.
kid, I feel like all of us are had that daydream of like being in a movie with Van Damme or Jackie or somebody, and like,
Yeah.
all right, now like, we're gonna fight these bad guys, and you're like choreographing it in your mind, like how you're gonna do this, and you're not throwing sloppy shit the whole time. You're throwing like
Yeah.
the most beautiful, jumping off the wall, side kicking people, like, you know what I mean?
Dude,
So
I'd
I
be
feel
lying
like,
if I
uh,
said Van Damme's kickboxer wasn't my introduction to Muay Thai,
dude, it was everybody's. It was mine.
right?
Yeah, it was definitely
And
mine.
I'm like, all right, jumping back, roundhouse kicks, wheel
Yeah.
kicks, okay, going into a split.
The left hand down here so you can get elbowed in the face. Yeah, I no, it was 100% mine as well too. So after I saw that, because I'm always bugging. I'm like, Mom, okay, next thing now is Muay Thai. We gotta find Muay Thai. And there wasn't a Muay Thai gym anywhere near us, so it was completely out. And I all my life had been waiting to eventually do Muay Thai. That was like stuck in my head since 1989,
Yeah,
when I saw
yeah,
Kickboxer. And obviously, when we got older and we went back and watched it, we were so disappointed, right? Because there was like no Muay Thai in that shit at all, at
yeah,
least
right.
on Van Damme's side.
Yeah, right.
You did the same shit he did. Yeah. Yeah. He did what was the other one? He did the other one, The
Bloodsport.
Quest. The Quest. Did you ever
Quest.
see The
Yeah.
Quest? He did a little bit more Muay Thai in that one. He like threw a low kick and
I
I
gotta
think
go
he
back and
threw a
watch that.
knee. Yeah, so that one was the one where it was kind of like an Enter the Dragon tournament. See, it was very similar to a blood sport, but it was like
Yeah.
where they leave him on this island in Thailand in Phuket. And then he's training with these Thais, and obviously they don't want to train him because of
Barong.
Belgium. And then eventually he like picks up the techniques and he sneaks his way into this tournament. and he still does all his Van Damme stuff, but he's a little bit more Thai in that one than he was in the other kickboxer and stuff like that too. It was
I got
pretty
to go
cool.
back and watch that
Yeah,
again.
that one's pretty cool. I like that one.
Yeah.
Any of the ones that have like a tournament with a ton of different style characters, like a Bloodsport or Enter the Dragon, or even like I said, Mortal Kombat, stuff like that. Like those are always my favorite ones. You get to see all the different styles of martial arts kind of thrown at each other, and I always like those. I always thought those were
Yeah.
like really
How about
cool.
Ong Bak and Tom Young Goon,
Oh
Tony
yeah,
Jaa?
fuck yeah,
Yeah, dude.
100%.
Yeah.
When those came out, I'd already been doing Muay Thai for a while, so I was but then I was kind of like, yeah, you guys are trying to catch up to me now.
I did
Yeah,
it first.
those were great, man. Tony Jaa is such an awesome. I was obsessed with him, like all his videos. There was this one highlight of his that I used to watch all the time that had like some clips from Ong Bak and with him fighting all the guys and jumping up and kicking the light. And then it also had
Yeah. Yeah.
a bunch of clips of him doing like halftime shows at NBA games where he would like jump way up in the air and kick a basketball out of some guy's hand that was standing on like two other guys' shoulders and stuff like that, man. Yeah, he's vicious. He's like the
Tony Jaa.
Thai Jackie Chan kind of,
Yeah. 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 Jackie's still my all-time favorite though.
Yeah, Jackie's the best, man. What's your favorite Jackie Chan movie?
Have you seen Big Brawl?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like 83, I think it came out.
Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah.
Love that
that
one.
one's so fun. I think
Yeah, I
that's my
love that
favorite
one.
one.
I like
Yeah.
there was one called Shaolin Woodenman that's kind of obscure. I don't think a lot of people saw that one.
Yeah, I
I
didn't see that.
was lucky. I had found this little shop in Baltimore City that was like just a hole in the wall, but that's all they sold was like the old Kung Fu VHS tapes.
Yeah, they're
And
the
this is
best.
even at the time the DVDs were out, so it was like very fringe, and they had like
Yeah.
nunchucks for sale in there. It was like a straight like martial arts store.
Yeah, they're the
It was
best.
sick. It was sick. And the tapes were expensive as fuck. They were like $35, but you couldn't get them anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shaolin Woodenman is tight. He's like trying to become a monk or do whatever, and the final test is he has to make it through this hallway of these I'm sure you played Tekken. Do you remember Mokujin,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
wooden guy? He looks like a
Yeah.
little wooden guy. So that's where that came from, is those movies. There was all this hallway of these like wooden guys that just like randomly are all punching and kicking on both sides, and he had to like work his way through and like block and chop, and it was like two long hallways of these wooden men that he had to like fight his way through to become a master or whatever the hell he was gonna do when he got to the end of it. But it's sick though. It's really
Oh,
tight.
dude. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sold.
Shaolin Woodman. You
I
gotta
gotta
check that
find
one
that.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good luck finding it, but if you can, it's well, you know what? It might be on like iTunes or something now for all I know. I
Yeah,
haven't
right.
looked for it in a while. So you started with the Taekwondo, and then you went over to another place I'm super familiar with. Started training at Dadis's at age 15.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
when they
awesome.
were in South Philly on Juniper Street.
Yeah, I remember that
Tiny
place.
little gym.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. How long were you with Dadis?
I was there till 2009,
Mm-hmm.
I think. Um,
Okay.
I basically was there until I went to Thailand.
Yeah.
And then when I came back, there was a falling out and they separated. Kuraja Wasamago separate. Yeah, he
Okay.
separated from Gaddis.
I remember that.
And that had happened while I was in Thailand. So when I came back, I was like confused as to where to go. I felt like I was like picking a side or something. So I was like, all right.
Yeah.
And then I just started training at a gym in Northeast Philly. Oh no, you know what? And then I started doing boxing. Then I got into boxing.
Right.
Like
I saw you. So you hurt your foot and then made the switch to boxing for a little while.
Yeah. Yeah. I went to Jack Costello's.
Okay.
It's a boxing club. Like as legit as it comes, it's all like volunteer.
Yeah, of course. Philly.
Yeah. You go in and for the first like 6 months, you're just shadow boxing, jumping rope and hitting a heavy bag, hoping someone will recognize you. One of the coaches will give you the time of day to hold for you.
Yeah.
And then Sheriff Joe Jesus was my coach there.
Yeah.
We had we did 5 fights up there, amateurs. Then I moved out to California and then kept boxing out there.
Yeah.
At Sweet Science.
Yeah.
Is an awesome gym.
Man, for those that don't know, the Dallas fight camps literally spawned like almost the entire, Muay Thai scene in the Philadelphia area.
Yeah.
Everyone pretty much came up there and under Rigel, and then even after the split, people just slowly continue to spider web into their own gyms and stuff. You had obviously Justin, with Stay Fly, Charlie Catone's got 8 limbs now. Jackson Galka has North Star.
North
Bob
Star.
Peach took over the Cherry Hill location, which was
Beacon.
Beacon Martial Arts. That building holds a special place in my heart. That was so Brad used to have these smoker events, and that was where I coached for the first time. That was the first place I ever had that was like my first experience as an actual competitive coach, was at the Brad Daddis Smokers in Cherry Hill.
I wonder
I
if you were
guarantee
there,
you,
because I fought
100%.
Yeah,
I was at every single one.
Oh, really? Yeah,
every single one.
I think I did like 5 smokers. So
yeah,
we definitely have been in the same room.
100%. Yeah, guarantee you we were in the same room there for sure.
That's funny.
Yeah, I had so at the time I was the head coach for a gym called Ivy League, and Danny Ives was the owner, and Danny and Brad were really close. Because Danny was actually from Philly originally.
Okay.
And we, I met him. Danny, I met at Lloyd Irvin's gym. That was where I started off at, and Brad Daddis was loosely like affiliated with Lloyd's as well too. So we did a lot of cross training with the two teams. We would go out there and get some training and stuff in sometimes, and that was how we got connected with them to bring people out for the smokers and stuff like that. Those smokers spawned a lot of really great fighters too.
Dude, those were tough.
They were tough, man. They were
and
serious.
Fighting with those chest guards on too. Brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal.
And then what's wild is he was ahead of the game, because turns out like years later, then you got people are trying to learn how to get used to that when they go to IFMA for the B class. The males wear those and stuff. So yeah, he was ahead of the game. And
I remember it's because of insurance reasons, though.
100%.
Yeah. He's like, we wouldn't be able to knee each other in the body unless we wore them.
No, he ran them really smart. I know they got messed up because somebody got butt hurt a little bit and like got hurt in a fucking fight you know what I mean? I don't know what they expected.
You don't
got mad and like ratted him out and tried to get him in trouble, which really sucked, because those things help the community a lot. That's why I do them. I mean, I do them at my gym. In 2018, I ran one every month. And then 2019 we slowed down a little bit, and then we moved, and I just ran my first one a couple of weeks ago since the shutdown, and I'll be back to doing them probably like every 6 weeks. But he was a big inspiration for how I run ours and why I run ours and stuff like that, because it's a big part of what helps a lot of these guys kind of get prepared for that that next step of whether you're doing a tournament or doing a show fight and stuff like that. Those smokers make a really big impact on, for me at least, teaches me how to communicate with my fighters. So I learn like what they respond to. Some of them will respond better to numbers. Some of them respond better to code words. And then some of them have to be like programmed on the mitts, because they're good at like spotting, using their vision and seeing a combination. So they'll throw stuff. So after a couple of smokers, I see what combinations they throw regularly, and I'll have them throw those on the mitts, and then I'll throw back the most likely strike that they're going to have to worry about afterwards, so that it just becomes like a flow of just pop, 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 pop. And then you'll see, I think the person I had the most success with that was a fighter named Jared Tipton. He was 100% like that. He would spot the opening, he would throw his thing, and whatever defenses I worked on with the mitts. Like he was like a robot. Like you just kind of put him in there. He would throw his combos. They would throw usually back the things that I would throw back at him. And then he would come back with the return stuff or whatever. So it was like kind of like pre-programming it and then watching the simulation just on play a lot of times in his fights. It was really cool.
Yeah, that's good
Um,
coaching.
it was a trial and error a lot of times, but yeah, he got really good. He was a hell of a fighter. Started off, I think I had him since he was like 16, so he was a little easier to mold, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think he fought at Brad's as well too. Yeah, everybody. Aaron came up there. Aaron did one there.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of people, a lot of people that I've trained over the year came up in that atmosphere, and I'm super appreciative of Brad for doing all he did. And like I said, he, kind of spawned all those amazing gyms that are out there now. It's awesome to see Bob Peach has Beacon there at that location too, because that's such like I said, there's like vibes in there. I saw you posted a picture of the other day, and I was just like, oh man, that's the spot right there.
Dude, I still get nervous driving over there,
I
thinking
bet.
that I got to go weigh in and then
Yeah.
fight. My heart starts racing when I pull into that little turn onto the road.
It's funny how that happens, huh? Like a building
Yeah,
can kind of incite those emotions a little bit
yeah,
even. I have that. I'll sometimes go back over to Lloyd Irvin's gym. I was taking one of my fighters, Gary Mack, over to help Sadiq Yusuf get ready for the Contender Series when he went to do the Contender Series fight. And then we
right.
were taking him over there to do he was supposed to fight damn it, Edson Barbosa. Sadiq was supposed to fight Edson Barbosa. So they needed somebody that had good striking. So we were bringing Gary over for that. And the same thing, man. There's an elevator you got to get in to go up to Lloyd's, and like the smells and everything. Just I because I was always going there to like train hard and spar and everything. And as soon as I get in the elevator, I get that same like, all right, man, here we go. Like,
isn't that wild?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like you're telling your body, you're like, no, there's nothing to worry about. You're not fighting. That's not what we're doing. But still, like it just it goes into autopilot.
Yeah,
heart's racing.
That's funny.
Hair stick up on the back of your neck.
Yeah, dude, it's wild.
Yeah.
I have to get out there sometime and stop by and say what's up to Peach and check out the building. It'd be cool to just be in there again, you know.
Yeah, and you said Brad comes by from time to time too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And there's Brad, because he's kind of like retired, right? He doesn't really. I mean, does he still have his gym even?
No.
He's out of the game, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. He put his time in.
Yeah.
He put his time in. He left his mark on the game, and he'll be remembered in that world forever and stuff. I hope he's living an awesome life and getting some downtime and relaxing. People don't realize how much as much as we love all this stuff, how much it kind of takes out of you too. You gotta hang up the guns.
Yeah, amen.
So yeah, so I knew you competed at WKAs as well too, right?
Yeah, I fought twice in WKAs.
Nice.
Yeah, I fought Takaki Kawabata. The first time I was there, and then I was 17. I remember I was 17 because he came up afterwards and he's like, I hear you're only 17. I'm 37. I was like, wow, 20-year difference. And then I fought again 2 years later. I fought up a weight class because no one was there in mine. Tim Amarin, who went on to fight.
Oh shit. Yeah, from Rami's gym. Was he at Rami's at that point?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I think he was always at Rami's, I guess, huh?
Yeah, he dropped me in the third round. I think it was the first time I'd ever been dropped.
Yeah, Tim was good, man. And that's where I brought up all my fighters have come up to the WKA tournaments too, man. That's a breeding ground for East Coast killers for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Man, good old days.
And then so then you said you moved to Thailand for a little while. What made you decide to make that call?
I don't know. I think it was just like, I remember my buddy was over my house and we were talking about it. and I used my student loan money to pay for it.
Oh, nice.
Probably.
It worked out.
It worked. Yeah,
It was
yeah.
worth
I
it.
mean, it became my career,
That
so it
was
was
your
kind of like
college, yeah.
towards the education. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I remember just like he was like, "Fuck it, buy a ticket right now." You won't, and I was like, "I won't," and I logged
Yeah.
on, and I remember just because I was looking up a camp Kiapon tip, and I remember like training out there is dirt cheap. The most expensive part is the flight out there, and I was like,
Right.
well, let me crunch these numbers real quick. I did some quick math, and I was like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got a flight, and then I went in. And I told my parents because I was 19 at the time, and then it was like a couple months later, the riots started. The red shirts were rioting against the government, and
yeah.
They're like burning cars and looting, and it was pretty bad. The American embassy shut down the day before I was supposed to leave, and I remember my parents sat me down. They're like, "We can't let you go. There's no way. Like it's unsafe." And I remember I started crying. I was like, "I'm going anyway."
Right.
And yeah, I got a taxi the next morning. I got in and I went. And I remember when I flew in, Rob Cox picked me up at the airport.
Oh, wow.
We were driving on the highway. You
Yeah.
could see black smoke like barreling out from the skyline of Bangkok.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, like it was pretty intense.
Damn.
But we were probably like 30 minutes outside of the city, so we didn't like see or hear anything. It was fine the whole time. But that was that was like one of those trips I'll remember in great detail forever. That was
How long were you there for?
A month.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I fought like 3 weeks in. And then right after that, I got staph in Patago. And I thought it was like a pimple at first. And then I'm like, wait, I got it's all over my legs. It's all over my face. The next day it was like really bad. And they were like, like the kids and trainers, they're laughing. They're like, oh yeah, like that's pretty common. They're like, just go down to the pharmacy. I walked into the pharmacy and they're like, they didn't speak any English, but they're like, I got you. I know exactly what you got.
Yeah.
And I was putting like creams on it, but it wasn't working. So then I had to shorten the trip and ended up flying back and had to go to the hospital and take care of that. Yeah.
Damn, that's sketchy, man. Yeah, I got I think I got heat sickness, I think, when I was there. I think it could have been food poisoning though too, so I wasn't really sure, and I got sick and I was down for a couple of days, and then I jumped back. I went to Sit Mon Chai. I was there for about a month as well too. Awesome experience. I feel like it's definitely good for everybody to get that experience and get the kind of get a feel for what it's like out there, get a feel for the training,
Yeah, man.
Just an overall awesome experience for sure to get out there if you can.
Yeah, it was like I was a different person when I got back. I felt confident and stuff. I fought in another country, I went by myself and all that, but I remember just feeling like cultured. And I was talking, I did a video with Kevin Ross, and we were talking about this. He's like, people you got to travel, you got to go to other countries. And he's like, and don't go to like another America. Don't go to like a Cancun resort where everyone speaks English and you're, like being pampered. You got to go to a place where you can't understand anyone and they can't understand you. Like, you got to do that. It humbles you. You learn so much about different cultures, and it just opens up your eyes, and you just appreciate and are more empathetic towards everybody.
Yeah,
when you do that.
I think that makes you appreciate being here too.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even realize like how nice it is to be able to like call an Uber and actually tell them where you want to go, and they understand you and not going to drop you off in some random place where you know what I mean?
You don't know how good you got it until you go to places like that. And like the kids are running, they're running in their school shoes.
Yeah.
And they're like loafers, and they get back from like an 8-mile run, and their feet are bleeding, and then they go train for 2 hours.
Yeah.
I remember I bought like a couple pairs of shoes and just left them there.
Yeah.
But like, it's something everyone should do.
Yeah. You're absolutely right about the education it gives you. I think is something that you can carry on with you throughout the rest of your life. Like I said, I definitely, it made me appreciate it made me appreciate what I have here, which I think is sometimes difficult for people to do, to understand like how fortunate you are, even if you even if you don't have what you think you want to have, like
Yeah,
learning how to appreciate what you have, like sets you free. I feel like you're just like,
exactly.
this
Exactly.
actually is really great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
comparison to how it could be. And yeah, for sure. That's a really good point. I had a blast over there. Salmon Chai was really cool. I actually, I feel like it's the same for everybody. Whatever gym you go to, like you stay in touch with them usually forever. And I know the Sitman Chai has almost like a network of like, we like, even if you weren't there at the same time I was there, I feel like everyone kind of communicates with each other, like everyone kind of knows. And so I've definitely made a lot of really good friends over the years from there, and still talk to Abigail, who's kind of like their like manager. She runs everything. She speaks Thai and
Yeah.
she speaks English, so she kind of like puts everything together. And I actually met Yoshi from the yard. I don't know if you know who Yoshi is.
Yeah.
He was there when I got there, so he was kind of like he was living there and he had been there for a while, and he was kind of like when you got there, they're like, okay, this is Yoshi, like if you need something, talk to him,
Uh,
because I think he's Taiwanese, but he understood enough that he could communicate with them and us, and was super helpful. Like he was like my guru there, like as far as like where to go, what to do, kind of thing. Like he let me know what to do. So yeah, I met Yoshi there. A bunch of other fighters that I, like I said, still talk to and stuff. And obviously Pornsene,
mhm.
June, Thipnamit, and I got really tight. I still talk to him. I bought a bunch of his Monkongs and
Mm.
stuff like that for him. Anything I can do to support. So yeah, it's an awesome experience. I think I always highly recommend it. I want to take Erin there at some point. So and go at least try to go for like 6 weeks so she can fight as many times as possible while we're
Yeah.
there. I think that'd be a great experience for her, and
Yeah.
maybe get a couple pro fights and stuff like that over there would be cool.
Hell yeah. You guys like Thai
Um
food?
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. So that makes it pretty awesome too, right?
Yeah, right.
Just home cooked Thai food every day.
Come on.
And you don't feel
Come on.
guilty about it at all because you're fucking sweating it
Yeah.
right out for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Some massaman
man,
curry
I was like, I
coming
made
through,
sure I
course.
ran and everything before I went there, because I was like trying to make sure I was in like
Yeah.
half decent shape. I was still training back then as if I was going to possibly fight again at some point. Yeah, and I had, it's funny is I actually had so I was training for WKs and to do it a third time in 2009, and I was sparring too much, and I got kicked in the knee and chipped like a little piece of my kneecap off, and
Ugh.
the knee like swelled up real bad. It wasn't, I don't think it was something that needed surgery. If it was, I fucked up because I never got one. I think they probably could have went in there and like got the little chips out. That probably would have been a good idea. Who knows what's going on in there now? But for a while, if I got kicked right in the knee, it would like blow up like a balloon.
Jeez.
So I stopped sparring Muay Thai for a while and really focused on my boxing,
Hmm.
similar to like I know you had a situation like that too with your foot.
Yeah.
And that was where I always was a big hands guy. Even as a kid in Taekwondo, I punched too much. Like I got in trouble for throwing too many punches sometimes.
Yeah.
I think that's why the guy was like, "Man, you should do Kyokushin." And but that's where when I hurt my knee that time, I was like, "All right, well, I'm going to compete in boxing for a while and shift my focus there." And that was where I really found my love for boxing, and heavily influenced my style even as a coach. I make sure all of our fighters are really good with the hands. And um I feel like it separates us as a country even from a lot of the other competitors, because we that's like it's almost something that's like in our blood, like that Western boxing style.
Yeah,
You
man.
learn how to like blend it in with the kicks and knees and elbows. It just makes you a lot more dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like you said, starting with the Taekwondo, like my progression, then going to Muay Thai, then fine tuning it with the boxing. I feel
Hmm.
like really started to understand the importance of the balance. Like I'd hear it all the time in Muay Thai, and I'd be like, well, no, I can throw spin kicks and not fall over. I'm balanced.
Yeah.
But like the weight distribution and the subtleties to creating angles, like make them miss by a hair and not by a mile in boxing, things like that.
So you can hit them back.
Yeah. And then kind of like the dexterity of my kicks. Like I know I can like place my heel on a temple, like slow and controlled. And now it's like that same precision with boxing, but like down to the knuckle, down to the exact square inch that I want to land it.
Yeah.
And then like all of those three together to blend it into kickboxing has, I think for me, was like the perfect three choices.
I agree. So in 2006, I started at Lloyd's with the initial intent of competing in MMA. That was my first goal. I went there because they had Muay Thai. That was why I went there. I wanted to be a Muay Thai striker in MMA. But MMA was like my initial goal. And the one thing I feel like I actually really took from studying mixed martial arts was being like, even for something, even for just like a Muay Thai fight, it's like, okay, they're good at kicking, so let me get in a range where I can box, because that's not where they're good at. You know what I mean? What I feel like it's that MMA mentality, kind of like, oh, they're a striker, let me take them down and put them in a place where they're not comfortable. So I felt like I feel like having that mentality of like trying to have strengths in different areas, even in Muay Thai, like if it's boxing, or if it's being a kicker, or if it's being clinch, and then knowing when to draw on those things based off of who you're facing, I feel like can really separate you from a lot of other fighters, where you're not just one particular way. You can adapt and be what you need to be to like win in those situations, you know?
For sure. Yeah. Plan A isn't working. You got to go to plan B and be comfortable with
And be comfortable.
plan B.
So I have this thing I call the rock, paper, scissors theory. So
it's so weird. I was just going to say that.
Yeah. That's what it really is. And I teach, I have three kind of like specific styles that I make sure that they all know. And I tell them like, so you're going to have multiple guards. Obviously there's two stands, you got orthodox, southpaw, but then there's also like categories, like you're an aggressive attacker, you're a counterer, like a slick counterer. I have southpaw. I always add as one, because that's like, it's a whole thing for us. We have like a very particular southpaw system that I split in two. We have like I call it inside the lead foot southpaw system, and an outside the lead foot southpaw system, because some southpaws don't circle the way that they're supposed to circle. So I don't try to fight that. I tell them what combinations to throw and stuff when they do it that way. But I try to make sure that they get at least enough of a gist of all of those things, and understand that the fight is rock, paper, scissors. So if you get into the ring and you look across, and you're probing, you're figuring them out, and you're like, oh, this is a scissor guy, I'm gonna rock him, or if you're moving around and you're like, oh, this is a rock guy, I'm a paper him. Like I feel like if you can start to understand it from that perspective, and you don't have to just be a rock guy, like you can go way further. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Ring generalship. Make them fight your fight. Fight the
So Mokujin in the Tekken game was that wooden guy we talked about earlier. Right. So if you remember, when he would come out, and he would be one of the other character style, and if you knew all the characters, you knew right away based off of his stance. Like you're like, oh, he's Bruce, and like, oh, he's Steve. So I was like, we want to be Mokujin. We want to be able to cycle through our styles and be whatever we need to be and the more that we study all those styles, we can rock, paper, scissors based off of, oh yeah, he's a Bruce guy, oh, he's a Steve guy, like I know how to beat these guys. Like I feel like it helps make the fight a little bit mentally, knowing the strategy come together is a little faster that way, if you kind of understand like how people are.
Know the controls in the game.
Yeah, and then don't be a button masher. Don't be a button masher.
Sometimes that works though.
So how
Spam
did,
fireball.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. Sometimes you get, and as they said, that's why you got, to me, that's a rock guy. You're just going in there,
Yeah.
and just let them things fly, you know? So what made you decide to start Fight Tips? Like, how did that come about?
Yeah, so I was 13. Fight Tips technically started in 2003.
Yeah.
I remember, I guess, like, how it really started was I was like on a website builder, whether it was like Angel Fire or X Page, like back in the day. And I was like, yeah, I want to make a website. And then it was like, what do you want to call it? And I was like, what is this even about?
Yeah.
And I was like, I was I was doing Taekwondo and I was into that. I was into fighting video games and movies. And I was like, how about Fight Tips? It was like, just like, and I remember because I would look things up on fighting and there wasn't much out there on the internet at that time.
Yeah.
This was before YouTube was even out. YouTube came out in 2005.
Right.
And yeah, I was like, all right, this will be a page where we can use it as a hub for fight videos, whether it's UFC or street fight videos. And then we made the forum. Right. And I think since it was one of the first of its kind, it brought in a lot of people. And I think we got like around 10,000 members on there within a couple of years. It was pretty quick. And it was like a really lively website or a forum. And spent a lot of time on there. And one of the members suggested, they're like, you should do videos. You should do your own videos based on the posts that you're making.
Right.
And then I got a job and I saved up for a digital camera when those were a thing. Back before they were on your phones.
Right.
And then YouTube came out 2005 and I was like, oh, this is perfect. I can save on bandwidth and upload right to this website and then embed it on my website.
Yeah.
And went and checked back a couple months later on my YouTube page and I was like, oh damn, I got like a ton of followers on here and I didn't even realize it at the time. But again, I think I was one of the first of like me and Quan Kicker was the other big martial arts YouTuber.
Yeah.
And I just really liked the community that I attracted. And I had a lot of support from the people in the original forum and a lot of people that I still talk to this day that have become close friends. And it just continued to grow organically, man. The rest is history.
That's awesome. So there's like kind of what we talked about before too, like collaboration, because you and Quan Kicker did some collaborations and stuff too, right?
Yeah, we did some videos. We did like choreographed fight scenes together.
Yeah.
And then he came out more recently, 2019, I think. We did a seminar and then filmed a bunch of videos.
Yeah.
Quan Kicker's the man. He's a really intelligent guy.
Yeah.
And legit. And he's someone who's got obviously the Taekwondo background.
Right. Right.
Had a fight out of Tiger. He fought in Thailand, knocked the guy out in like 45 seconds with a spinning back kick to the liver.
Yep. Man, that's something that people don't, that's another thing. A lot of times people don't understand. Again, and like I said, it kind of goes back to that mentality of thinking things from a mixed martial arts perspective, even just in the realm of striking. If you really understand Muay Thai and like when they're gonna check or when they're gonna fade, or like you start like recognizing these defensive patterns, that spin kick is something special, like you learn how to set it up and you can put it to the body. And then even once they start catching on, if you don't melt them with that spin kick to the body, then that head is wide open. And that's something that what Corey used against Marlon Moraes when he knocked him out. Got him worried about the kick going to the body and put it to the head. And it's absolutely a huge tool to have in your arsenal for Muay Thai, and it goes back to having that traditional martial arts background where if you have those extra tools in your arsenal, like they come in handy, man.
Yeah. And that's what Mike was saying for that fight. That was his plan. He's like, I was going jab, low kick, jab. And he said backstage before this, he's like, I probably threw like 200 back kicks, just slow and controlled. That's all I did was just warmed up my accuracy on the back kick. But he's like, I wanted to go jab low kick, jab back kick, touch him with it. And then when he saw me spin again, hopefully his guard comes down, then go wheel kick to the head. But he's like, I didn't have to put him down with the
body. Yeah. That's always the I feel like the real ones know, like you got to throw it to the body first a couple of times if you want to, because in their head's just there, it's like, because they start like, all right, I gotta block this, and they just leave that tempo just out there for you to just dig your heel into that thing for sure. I actually did a couple of years ago. I did um for Shane Fazen. I did like a technique breakdown for the spin kick, and how I set it up and stuff like that. And actually really similar. I do it off the hook though. That's the only difference. I'll throw the hook to set up the low kick, and then I'll intentionally so this is the other thing that I always try to explain to my fighters too. They'll come up to me after sparring and be like, man, I'm trying to land, whatever combination, and it's just not working. They keep getting out of the way. And I'm like, it's because you're just throwing it because you want to throw it. I'm like, you understand everything that you really want to do, you have to attach to win. That's like the most important part of landing something spectacular, is you have to attach it to win. So if you're just throwing a spin kick out in the air, like they're gonna see it. It's a big motion, unless you're just super fast, and you catch them kind of coming forward, and then it might get stuffed anyway. You got to set it up. So when I would do it was I would go hook low kick, hook low kick, hook low kick, and I was telling my guys, I'm like, if you land 15 hook low kicks and they don't check it, what do? And now they're starting to catch on. They're like, we keep throwing it, coach. I'm like, yeah, fuck that spin kick. Keep throwing that low kick. You know what I mean? If they want to get finished with low kicks, we keep throwing the low kick, because we don't throw the hook. We don't throw the spin kick until they show us that they're open for it. So what I'll do, I like it when they try to fade to take away the hook from me, and then they give you that little bit of extra space to sneak that hook kick into the body, and then I'll intentionally miss with the hook to help wind up the kick a little bit more and make it a little bit heavier, and then that thing's just like a big tornado to the body. I'll send you a link to that. I'll send you a link to that video that I did for Sean too. It's you can see the little setup or whatever off the hook. And I actually learned that hook to help set up that kick to make it a little bit heavier from a Dutch guy that I had gotten a chance to work with at Lloyd's a little bit. That was how he threw it. And it seemed really crazy at first until I threw it a couple times and I was like, oh shit, it's like way heavier.
Yeah.
The motion of the hook kind of swings you into that thing. So then with Fight Tips early on, you started doing the videos, and I used to have the fun ones like the Muay Thai versus basketball and stuff like that. What brought on that type of content at first?
That's a good question. I would do like creative exercises in order to come up with content ideas.
Yeah.
Because we were doing 3 videos a week there for like 5 years. So we're in like we have over 1,000 videos uploaded on YouTube now, and like it's challenging. Like I'd have to dedicate a day to just reading comments, brainstorming ideas, trying to get creative. And I remember I would always think about, I would take different genres, and I'd be like, if I wanted to collaborate with like a beauty vlogger, if the opportunity came up, like I would try to just like challenge my brain to get creative. It's like, all right, how would a fight channel, a martial arts channel, collaborate with a beauty vlogger? And I was like, I don't know, like how about like a makeup tutorial to cover up a black eye?
Oh yeah.
So something like that. So I would do things like that. And how I came up with Muay Thai versus everything, it's probably like one of like I use Muay Thai as like synonymous with like badass or cool.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's Muay Thai, it's very Muay Thai of you. Like,
it's like when people say that's metal. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
So, and I think like I would do things like, I don't know, like I would hold the door, or I would like catch the door with my foot and then like pull it in, and I'll be like, oh, Muay Thai. Like I wouldn't have been able to do that unless it was. So I think it was like something like that. Like it was, and then I was like, well, what if we do like Yeah, Muay Thai versus everything, just how it's like it beats all.
Right.
Yeah, like kind of as a joke. And they were just fun ones. We would like smash watermelons and kick a basketball across the court, or
Yeah, I remember that one. That was awesome.
Smash the cue
The
stick
glass
across my
too.
shin.
Yeah.
That one hurt.
Yeah, I bet. How
That
many
might have been
times
the
did that
worst
one
one.
take?
That was just one. I
Oh,
told my
that's
friend,
nice.
yeah, I told my friend Con, I was like, dude, just like
Fucking do it.
100%, just like smash it as hard as you can, because I do not want to
Yeah.
do this multiple times. But that
Yeah.
one stung.
Yeah, I bet.
I didn't realize there was a metal rod going through it
Oh
too.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
because
What
to
else?
screw it in or whatever, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought of that either. Damn. Yeah,
Yeah.
those are great. And I feel like where was your viewership at up at that point? Was it already pretty high, or was that where things started to take off a little bit?
That was I think we had already passed 1 million
Oh
subscribers. So
wow, that's
we
awesome.
were pretty high, yeah.
You were doing
We
good anyway.
I remember we were at around 100,000 when we decided to go to quit our jobs and go full time on it, my wife and
Nice. Yeah.
I. We got married and then moved out to California, and the plan was to be close to YouTube Space, which is these big studios out there where you can rent like state of the art equipment,
Yeah.
and film there. And we're like, all right, that'll be our studio. And we struggled for the first probably like year and a half, where it was ramen noodles and 49-cent burritos for dinner every night. And then we hit 200,000. That's when we started teaming up with like Quest Nutrition. That was like a big sponsorship.
Mm-hmm.
And then we teamed up with Bellator and Dave and Buster's, and that was our big break. I remember that day too. We were at YouTube Space filming, and we were both of us were just like beat. It was like a grind, and we didn't have any money in the bank account, and we were like second guessing whether. And I remember saying, I'm like, martial arts is just too niche. We can't make a career out of this this way online. And I went to the bathroom. When I came back, Marie came running out. She's like all excited. She's like, we just got this like crazy email. You've got to read this. I think this is like our big break here. Yeah. And it was Bellator reaching out on behalf of Dave and Buster's. They wanted to do like a year-long partnership, and it was a really good deal. Yeah. And that was so much fun. That was such a fun partnership. We were with them for 3 years. We did like 2 commercials where I was on like Spike TV.
Yeah, I saw. I remember.
yeah, which was bizarre. And then we hit 1 million. We did the 1 million subscriber party, and at this point we're coming up to 3 million now. So
damn, dude.
Yeah,
that's so awesome, man. I'm so happy for you. Because you're a great guy. You put out awesome stuff, and it's just it's exciting to see. It's exciting to see good people like have the good stuff happen and putting out quality content. Always been super supportive too of the community that supports you in return, and I feel like have continued to do so even while your channel grows, because that you see sometimes people will kind of switch up a little bit. That's right, I got 3 million now, fuck y'all. You know what I mean? You've always been the same guy. So yeah, it's really just it's great, man. It's really cool to see. Really cool to see. I remember the Dave and Buster stuff too. I was like, dude, I can't believe it, man. He's on Spike TV, like this is it, dude. It's just
dude, Dave and Buster's. I would go there as a kid. It was the arcade,
Dave and Buster's is amazing. And I was like,
this is the perfect partnership.
Yeah,
drink beer and play video games and watch fights.
Awesome, man. That's really really cool. And it's an exciting time. I feel like I've been kicking myself I'm kicking myself all the time, because I had come up with these ideas and just kind of drag my feet on executing sometimes. And that's one thing that's always been impressive to me about you too, is you get shit done, and people don't understand that, like, you're not just going to be successful. Like, you got to get shit done. You got to put in the work, and you've always put in the work. Everyone can tell you're a real dude. I think even just through the videos, I haven't met you in person. And I know that's a big part of why you get all the support that you deserve to get. So when did you launch the website?
So the website was that was the first thing. We bought the domain fighttips.com in 2003. was a really basic, I think, like picture site. We didn't even have videos on there yet. Then eventually we started collecting other videos. So it was like posting like Kimbo Slice videos and other street fight videos. Yeah. Kimbo brought us in so many views.
I bet.
And then the forum. So yeah, 2003 is when it started.
Okay. So you kind of built it from the site up and then started doing the videos more after?
Yeah. Yeah. Cause we were on the forum, we were answering, people were like bringing their specific questions based on fights that they got in, bullies that they had, weight loss questions, technique questions, and I was responding text-based stuff on the forum. Damn. And they're like, "Could you film a video for me? This would be, be really helpful. Nice. Be really cool." Yeah. So I was like, "Oh yeah, let me jump on that." So then it was suggested from forum members that I start making videos.
Holy shit!
And then yeah.
Is the forum still going?
So we have a forum right now for the members on fighttips.com. Okay. But since we're doing the switch over to the network, right, the new Fight Tips team network, that's going to be in place of the forum. So it's going to be more post and feed style now. Yeah, think kind of like a Facebook interface where you'll have your own feed. You can follow certain topics or certain people. Yeah. You can favorite things, articles. So it's going to be that style.
Damn, that's exciting, man. I can't wait.
Yeah. I
can't wait. That's
so we're looking to launch next month. But this is like the big announcement on the I haven't mentioned this yet that we're making the Fight Tips app. So
one of my favorite things in the whole wide world is like witnessing people's dreams come true. Like I love when that happens. Like when you see somebody like Janet winning the title, or you see somebody like win the Super Bowl, or even just like get the call to like go to the UFC, or get the call that you go, like that's like the most heartwarming thing in the world.
Getting 40 cars, or
somebody Tesla. Getting 40 cars to give away. Like that's like that's the content that I'm looking for, like on YouTube. And so now I'm spending every Sunday talking to like these great people about how they rose to where they are currently, and it's just filling me with a lot of really good energy and stuff like that. So again, for the millionth time, I really appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate you, Coach.
Well, let's touch. I don't want to keep you all day, man. So let's touch real quick on a couple other things, and then I'll cut you loose. I know you got stuff to do. So on the website, I just wanted to like touch on like your tabs, because you got, like I said, the website's fantastic. The first one on there, you have the training courses. So tell me a little bit about that. Like, what are those? What's the goal with those?
Yeah, so the courses, right now, I think we have about 10. And for anyone listening, if they go to the website right now, we actually shut down signups since we're making the switch. So just hang tight. Like I said, next month will be when we open it up to the public, as it's invite only right now. But the courses, we have about 10 on there. And I started writing these, I'd say like 7 or so years ago. And it was just getting organized. I mean, as a coach, like just having your own curriculum, having your own system is mostly about organization. Yeah. And I wrote my courses with the idea that this is what I would teach if I were to open up a physical location. Right. I would follow it, right? Like down to the class, down to the theme, just tried to make it as organized as possible. And that's how I came up with the hybrid striking program. And that's the mix of the 3 arts that I have focused on, which is, like we said, Taekwondo, Muay Thai, and boxing. And it's a lot of partner-based stuff. It's very similar, and took a lot of inspiration from the stuff that we learned at the coaches clinic with Coach K. And then I like to mix in, like we said, like more specific boxing and Taekwondo stuff. So there is a lot of line drills. Like I'm a big fan of line drills. I'm a big fan of switching stances. Like that was something that I struggled with for a long time. Like should you teach someone the basic fundamentals and make sure they master those in an orthodox stance and then start to dabble in southpaw? But lately I'm thinking, like, if you're teaching conceptually and people are understanding the concept behind the technique and they grasp that, then I think it should be more so just about like weight distribution, balance, and rhythm. So
Yeah.
it is a lot of switch stance stuff. It's a lot of conceptual stuff. And I teamed up with Vince Cachero, Vince the Anomaly, who, you know, earned that name because he really is like he's an artist as much as he is a martial artist, and he's a great coach. He put together the MMA IQ Roadmap,
Oh,
and it
wow.
was cool when I first brought the idea to him of filming a course. I was like, you know, you're a rising MMA fighter. Um, I want an MMA course on here. I want something that focuses a little more on wrestling and grappling. You think you could put something together? And it took him a couple of weeks to even come up with the idea for it. But he's like, I think conceptually, and I want to teach other people to think conceptually. And this
Yeah.
course that he came up with, man, it's like I'm trying to convince him that he could turn this into like a college course. Like it
Yeah.
really feels like something that could be taught in college, because he talks about like strategy and game plan and what your overall goal is in a fight. He breaks down the rule set. He breaks down how fights are judged. And then with that in mind, works backwards. Like, all right, so our ultimate goal is to win the fight.
Mm.
Then he talks about like positions, dominant positions, and how you're closer to being that point of winning the fight.
Right.
How that can change quickly or slowly, depending on if you get dropped or if you just your position changes a little bit. And that's a course that even just filming it with him, like I felt my MMA skills, grappling and wrestling, like just tremendously increase when even just going over to Peach's place, Beacon. We were doing like I did an MMA class. We were doing like wall work drills, and
That's always
I
fun.
have yeah, but like very minimal training do I have in grappling and wrestling.
Yeah.
But like I could hear Vince teaching through, you know, based on the stuff that we filmed and editing the videos.
Yeah.
And it works. It's awesome. I mean, it's like the next best thing to training at a physical gym. So
Right.
that was our goal when making the courses, is like, if we were to open up a physical location, what would we teach? How would we teach it? Let's just do it in video format and make it as realistic as possible.
Yeah. Damn, that sounds sick. I love how like good instruction goes such a long way. And like you said, you being able to hear it in your, to hear it in your head when you need it, is so key. I love the wall work stuff. It's a super,
Yeah,
um,
underutilized.
underutilized for sure. And I think a lot, you see a lot of, I think you see a lot more MMA gyms doing it now, but I don't
Yeah.
know, what their intent is, if their intent is where it should be sometimes. I've been worked with a lot of MMA fighters over the years now. Obviously, that was my original starting point, and it's one of the places I've really liked to work with guys, because I've been fortunate to work with a lot of wrestlers over the years too.
Mm.
When I was training with the intent of being an MMA fighter, I always wanted to have my focus be striking. Um, but because of that, plugging this thing in, because of that, I made for damn sure that I understood wrestling and jujitsu and trained both of them, um, so that I could try not to get taken down.
It's nice seeing more Muay Thai clinching being done in MMA from
Yeah.
American fighters, because it
Yeah.
took a while.
It
Like
did.
in one you see it a lot because
Yep.
it's a lot of Eastern ties
Mhm.
and you know, making that transition into MMA. But
Yeah.
yeah, it took some time, didn't it?
It did. And, I don't think people didn't see the value in it. Um, and what the other thing that's wild, I always tell the guys too, I'm like, it's what's funny is, some genius in Thailand, like whatever, thousands of years ago, had the realization that if you grab somebody behind their head, their natural instinct, if they're not trained, is to duck out of it, and they go right
Yeah.
into that knee.
Yep. Yep.
So I like show the MMA guys. I'm like, just grab their head. They always do the same thing. They try to push the chest to push them away to get their head out, and they literally just put their face right in that spot for the
Oh,
knee. I'm like, they'll do it all the time. But yeah, that clinch, man, that's like a secret tool that that we're starting to see a little bit more now in MMA, that I think once people start to really figure out how awesome it is, it's gonna be a problem, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, so you're moving with the website, like I said, I know you have the watch, so you have the YouTube content on there too that they can catch right from the site as well.
Yeah, it is embedded in there. Yeah, so you can either go right to the YouTube channel or it is on fighttips.com.
That's pretty awesome. So when you embed it, and then they can watch it right there on the site, and the view still goes to YouTube, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah, because it's
great.
all just embedded. It's just
Yeah.
coded to be, the same. Yeah, it tracks it all. Yeah.
Yeah, that's vicious. I think I like that the way that you did it. It looks really nice though too, because it kind of, they click on it and then it gets big enough to watch it and stuff, and they can like
Yeah.
stay on the site. I really like how you guys set it up. Um, they look fantastic, man. And then you got some great coaches on there as well too. We talked a little bit about Vince. You have Aaron is it Hurley or Hurl?
Hurley. Yeah, yeah,
Hurley.
Aaron Hurley.
Okay, you got Aaron Hurley on there too. How long have you been working with Aaron?
Aaron, 2018, I think we met
Okay,
through
cool.
Vince. She was training at Black House with Vince. She's a Cabrini black belt.
Yeah,
Um, as legit as they come. I rolled with her once. We
yeah,
did a video. That's a video worth watching. It was like white belt versus black belt, female black belt. I forget what we called it, but she tapped me out probably like 5 times in like
yeah,
6 minutes or something.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, really good in X guard and De La Hiva.
yeah,
Yeah, Erin's a great person. Brings a lot of awareness to mental health. Submit the Stigma is her nonprofit.
yeah. I saw
Um,
that.
yeah, yeah, I love Erin.
And
So she's our Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coach.
she did some writing too for a while for some sites and stuff like that.
Grace,
Like she was, yeah,
yeah, I think she was doing Gracie magazine,
right.
and I know she works with Hyperfly. But
Yeah.
yeah,
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 we've talked about it to death on the other podcast, so I won't spend too much time on it just because I'm like, people are probably sick of hearing it. But just because you probably don't know, I used to travel. I traveled a couple of years at least with Lloyd Irvin to the IBJJF Worlds in Long Beach, and went to, I think, one or two Pan Ams or whatever to like film. So I would do like videography and cut together some highlights and stuff like that of the jiu-jitsu competitor. So I was aware of her on the scene back then. This was back in like 2010, 2011.
oh,
She was,
nice.
she was a name that was out there, and I knew she was like a writer and stuff like that too. So I saw she was on your site. I was like, oh, that's badass. I was like, I know who that
Yeah,
is.
that's cool.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Small
Erin's
world, man.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So you got PJ Sheridan, another coach on there as well too. What's his specialty?
Boxing.
Yeah.
PJ is the man. It's funny. PJ's from Philly, Jersey area,
Okay.
but I didn't meet him until we both moved out to LA.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah, so we both were working at a UFC gym. I was working in Springfield, and he was working in Cherry Hill, I
Okay.
think. And yeah, and then we were connected on Instagram, but we finally met in person at a UFC gym out in LA.
Yeah.
And he's just got such great energy. He's like one of the most positive, loving people I've ever met.
Yeah.
But a great boxing coach, great strength and conditioning coach. Yeah, just a really great asset to have on the
That's
channel,
awesome.
and people love him. He's great on camera too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It seems
he's
like
working with.
he's great.
Yeah, have you seen Fight Camp? It's like an at home
Yes.
training boxing program.
100% have seen Fight Camp.
Yeah.
So I had the exact same idea.
Yeah.
I was that's another one. Like I said, man, I've drugged my feet on so many things, and so I had, and actually, so we call our fitness classes Fight Camp. So I even
Okay.
wanted to call it Fight Camp.
Oh man.
So no, it's awesome. It is what it is, man. You got your
Yeah.
snoozes, and the I don't know how to pronounce it, but they're called like Hicksco or Hikesco, the
Yeah, the
boxing
Hixo
Hikso,
trackers, the punch
the
trackers.
trackers. So back in 2012, I was like writing out all this stuff that I wanted to do when I opened up the gym, and that was like going to be a big part of it. Which is wild because uh, it would have really worked out during all this stuff because I wanted there to be like a virtual option where you could use
Yeah.
the app to do it from wherever you were. And my my idea was to make sensors that would track your punches and your kicks,
Yeah.
so that that way the app you could tell you, like your velocity, like how many you threw, like all that stuff too. And and then what I also wanted to do was have an option where you could do, so like let's say you're doing it on the bag, right? So like you boom boom boom, you do your thing on the bag, and it tracks all your punches, your kicks, your everything. And what I wanted it to do was um simulate basically, like how you could like pick two fighters on like some of the old fighting games and then just watch them go.
Yeah.
So what I wanted it to
Yeah.
do was you could like build like an avatar and you could like watch your workout and you would see like what you were doing, kind of like how you were doing. And then what I was like, maybe down the road, if it gets big enough, you can get some celebrity fighters and stuff
Yeah.
to use
Mike
it.
Tyson.
And Mike Tyson is exactly the person that I
Of
thought of
course.
too.
Yeah.
Uh where they would input their
Hmm.
rounds or whatever too, and then the simulation would show you could like fight Mike Tyson, or you could like
Yep.
fight
Yep.
a Sanchai or whatever, like whatever fighters you could get on there. But it'd be just like a fun way to like work out, and something you could do at home.
I
And
could
then
see that being done with virtual reality
right,
stuff,
oh my god, that would be super sick.
right?
And then also have the option of what fight camp does, where it would call out the numbers or combinations and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
So you kind of had that virtual trainer. So dude, I had that exact idea. And then the last piece that still, which I'll say now, and somebody that with money will probably jump on it and knock it out or whatever, but I wanted to also build a sensor to put in, because also wanted you to be able to wear it for sparring, so you could track your numbers for sparring, like in reality too.
Yeah.
um and I wanted to have one built specifically for a headgear, so that if you got cracked a little too hard, it would like tell
Mm.
you like, hey, you should take a couple weeks off from
Oh, I
contact
love
to
that.
help you to kind of cut down on people getting concussed,
Yeah, I
because
like
they
that a
have
lot.
stuff like that for football, I think. And if they don't, then it would be applicable to that. So that's like the last piece that I haven't seen done yet, that I'm still trying to work on and eventually get out, because I think that would be a really valuable tool. As somebody who, one of the reasons I stopped training as much is because I had gotten a few too many concussions, and a few years ago, it kind of gotten to the point where I was having the symptoms like all the time, and I couldn't really run, I couldn't really hit the bag, definitely couldn't spar, and
Yeah.
even holding pads has gotten a little bit more difficult because of the impact, especially to the body, like holding for the big knees and stuff like that to the
Yeah.
body would
For
kind of
sure.
jolt me around. So I kind of had to put my training on the back burner a little bit. And starting to I think by taking some time off from sparring for the last like year or two, I feel like I'm probably okay again to start doing some stuff. So we're gonna test it out because I gotta get this weight off me, man. But yeah, I think that sensor and that headgear would be really helpful for a lot of people,
Yeah, man, that'd be revolutionary.
especially with these young guys. With the the boxing world, the you got to start as a kid to like really have a big career usually, unless you're just one of those like Jarrett Hurd type guys that
Mhm.
is supposed to be B side but keeps knocking people out and fights their way into the A side. For the most part, you usually got to go through the process the way they want you to. Start as a kid, silver gloves, golden gloves, try to make the Olympic team, get
And there's
tons
no
and
there's
tons
no
of time.
text there's no text sparring
No, there ain't no
in
text
boxing
bar. You're
gyms.
fucking
No,
fighting
dude.
every time you
Oh my
spar.
god.
That's
every
something
single
we do
time.
a
It
little
is a
different here
wolf.
too. We have tech. I teach our boxers to tech spar a little bit too. We still bang.
Yeah.
We still bang. We bang on Wednesdays, and we'll still go a little bit on Mondays too. But Wednesday's kind of like our day where I try to let them, because I do think it's important to get it in. Sometimes you don't want them to find out if they're able to do that in a fight. So
Right.
I don't have everybody tech spar all the time, because I think you gotta make sure you're built for it a little bit too. But
Yeah, especially early on.
especially early on, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think so. We're still working on getting that headgear situation, because I think that could save some lives, and probably just make people be able to train better and smarter.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
You'd be like, damn, I got ate too many damn shots today. I need to work on my head movement. Um, One of my favorite things I saw, you had so Roy Jones is like one of my favorite fighters of all time. And I like, you had his breakdown of the hook. So the hook is like, the hook and the liver shot, those are like my two punches.
Yeah.
And I'm a stickler for the way that I throw the hook. To a degree. And one of the things, I actually have a breakdown video I got to finish up. I'm going to try to put out later this week on Alex Pereira from Glory. He has like one of the best hooks and lead hooks in combat sports right now, man. He's literally always one hook away from putting somebody to sleep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have like a couple specific details that I'm always like, this has to be like this has to be like that, like the pulling motion, not loading it up unless you're coming off of another punch, or unless you're feigning or slipping or something like that. And it was cool to see that video on your channel of Roy doing it the way that he does it. And I'm also a thumb up guy.
Okay.
So I like thumb up, but I tell the students, I'm like, this is how I throw it. I'm like, this is okay because for me, I can hit a brick wall with my thumb up and it doesn't bother my wrist or my elbow. If I throw it with my thumb pointed towards me, I can feel it in my wrist, and it's not comfortable. So I don't feel comfortable throwing the hook as hard as I can. But I've
Yeah.
found a lot of people are the opposite, where it doesn't bother them at all to have the thumb pointed towards them, and it does when
Yeah.
they put the thumb up. So I'm like, that's okay. Whichever one of those feels right to you, that's the one that you should throw. But I'm always like, one thing that you cannot slack on though, fist, elbow, shoulder, all on the same line. Because you'll see a lot of guys where the elbow's down real low and they're leaving their head out in the open.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that always really drives me crazy. And I tell people is that I won't let you do. I'll fucking stand there and watch you in class until you get it right.
Yeah.
Because you see a lot of the pro boxers need shoulder and elbow surgery, and it's 100% because of how those hooks are being thrown with the
Yeah.
elbow too low, and then they're landing with these knuckles instead of these
Yeah.
knuckles.
Yeah.
Giving people fight tips. But yeah,
I'm a,
so
I'm a, I'm a huge fan of Triple G though, and he changed the way that
oh
I
yeah,
punch, and he's palm down even on the body shots.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Now, and I actually will use that example a lot. And because I'll say, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, unless you're Triple G and you can knock people out with however you throw your punch, you got to do it this way.
Or like Coach K said, but you're not Triple G, motherfuckers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm like, you guys got to because they'll be like, Triple G does it this way. I'm like, dude, Triple G threw a lead overhand and knocked somebody out on the top of their head like a cartoon
Rubio.
character. I'm like, you gotta understand. Yeah,
Shrinks down into his
that
shoulder.
doesn't make sense. That's supposed to break your hand, not knock somebody out. I was like,
Right.
don't do what Triple G does. You're not fucking Triple G. Who do you study? Who's somebody that you like to look at and watch for technique and stuff like that?
So definitely Triple G. Watch a lot of boxing. Petrosian for sure.
Yeah.
When it comes to subtleties in distance management and definitely like southpaw work. I think who else? I like watching a lot of clinch work.
Yeah.
I like Orono and Petchmanchu
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think who else. Who have I been on a kick lately? Definitely watching a lot of Petrosian lately. You know what? Jackie did so phenomenal in her debut at one.
Yeah.
I got to go back and watch that fight again. She was
Yeah.
doing a lot of lead leg, double lead leg stuff.
Yes.
Leg then body.
Yeah.
She was countering with the lead leg when Supergirl would step in, or Wonder Girl, and redirects. Like Brian and the Boxing Works team are really good at check hooks, redirects, control in the hand, and that like step off check hook.
Yeah, we call that the JT.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, we call it the JT. I like that little like one like jab check hook redirect or whatever. We have we call it drop step and pivot, that actual the footwork term for that one, but when we're like attacking with it, I call it the JT. Yeah, we give Boxing Works and Janet her flowers for that movement for sure.
Yeah. I love that movement. That you know who introduced me to that was Coach Tom Willock, who we haven't brought up yet. Yeah, he calls it the Russian step because a lot of Russian boxers use it. Yeah. And that kind of opened up my eyes to like fighting backwards a lot. So I like moving that lead leg back when I throw a jab, like a drop step jab. Yeah. And then stepping out on that check hook. Yeah. But I've been like really, really working on fighting backwards, and that feels like really good. And it's really simple to switch your position from ortho to southpaw. Yeah. From there. Because the check hook, you can turn 90 on it, and then if you do direct them that way, just based on the way that your position your feet are and your opponent, you're right in southpaw from there. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we have a thing I call the reverse shift. I'll send you a video on it. Where like, you know, it's basically the same head movement as slipping a jab cross, but on the cross we'll step back southpaw, but also off at the angle where you can shoot across from there or throw a kick from there. It's like I got Erin really good at it. You'll see it's a super safe way to exit after a combination because you're at an angle and in a different stance where they have to like readjust their feet before they can even attack and stuff like that. I call it the reverse shift, man. And it's a really good, like if you throw a good combination and hit it, like even like something basic, if I go jab cross, I'm throwing my left shoulder forward here. So if they throw something, my head's gone, and then I'm stepping all the way back out southpaw. So you get all this weight, and then as you're coming back, whatever you throw from there, it's like quadruple loaded. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that and it's just fun. It looks cool. Yeah, right. Sometimes you gotta make sure you get some style points too, right? A little finesse in there. Have you seen do you watch the MMA Shredded guy at all? Do you know him? Are you familiar with him? Yeah. Yeah. His stuff pops up a lot. I follow him. What are your thoughts on him? You like his stuff or? Dude, I don't know if I'd want to spar with him though. There's never a light sparring session. Yeah, he rumbles, huh? Yeah, he's like, we had a friendly spar session today. I'm like, goddamn. Yeah, trying to kill each other. Yeah, I feel like that's like his way of being like, I tried to fuck this guy up. Yeah. I always. Go ahead. Every once in a while, he'll go against someone who's just like, just one level above him too. And I'm like, man, if you just toned it down a little bit, they wouldn't have chopped your leg off. Or nah. I was supposed to do a course with guy Ben Grove that owns Nashville MMA. Was gonna have me do the striking, and Michael Chandler was gonna do like some like wrestling, and I think he'll probably do some striking stuff too. And they have a jiu-jitsu black belt. I forget who they got for that, but I've been kind of slacking on it. I need to get to work on that. So I think I'm gonna have some stuff like that coming out here sometime, probably in the next like 6 months or so. I'm just lazy about filming. I love Mike. Dude, Mike Chandler's a monster, huh? And it's exciting to see him over here in the UFC now. He's always been good. Yeah. I love that switch work he was doing too. Yeah. That's what I was expecting to see, to close the distance on Hooker with the kicks and knees. He did
Yes.
it perfectly.
Uh, we've used that step through into different strikes a bunch,
Hmm.
especially love it off. I love going we would throw like cross and then duck into the overhand
Hmm.
from southpaw. Um, and then I stole a term um from Blue Ocean, Palma, the Dutch rush. He had
Mm.
that technique called the Dutch rush, and I just never had a name for it. So we kind of stole that term from him. But I always tell people, I'm like, yeah, I stole this name from. I always like to give people their credit.
Yeah.
But yeah, that technique was beautiful, man. Favorite Muay Thai fighter right now? Who's your guy
Or girl.
or girl? Well, let's do both.
Yeah. Uh, Dude, right now I'm so amped up on JT and Jackie
Yes.
Bonton. I
Yeah.
really am. So definitely them. And
Good choice.
I don't know, man. Petrosian's the first one that comes to mind, but he's been on top forever, man.
Yeah,
When
that
he
ain't
came in the
never often.
K1, remember when he came
Yeah,
in the K1 and just beat up all our favorite fighters? I'm like,
dude,
who is this guy?
freaking
I hated him
amazing.
at first.
I was at New York when he got knocked out. It was the most heartbreaking thing to
Yeah.
ever witness, bro. Because I'm like, because Robin Van Roosmalen. So Robin
Mm,
Van Roosmalen and Petrosian were like two of my favorites at the time. So they're both in that 4-man tournament. It was them two, David Curia and Andy
yeah.
Risty. So I'm like, man, it's gonna be. In my mind, I'm like, it's 100% gonna
I,
be Roosmalen and Petrosian in the finals, and that fight's gonna be epic, you know. And then fucking Risty comes out and just ruins everybody's night, finishes Roosmalen, and then catches Petrosian. And I'm literally, we're just in the crowd, like, what just happened? Like, how the fuck?
I remember. I
Um,
remember. Yeah.
yeah, no, I got no problems with that being your favorite guy. He's a huge part of. So we,
Kyria. When
go ahead.
when Kyria then fought Risty after
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
did you see that fight?
yeah, of course, yeah,
That fight is insane, dude.
insane,
That is like warrior
yeah,
spirit, like to a T.
yeah. I feel like Kyria doesn't
He
get,
gets beat
yeah,
and has like the most movie-like epic underdog comeback ever.
100%, like every
I think
fight
I went
too.
out.
Yeah, you there? Okay, I got you back.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Kyria, man,
yeah.
Kyria.
There
I
you go.
feel like Kyria doesn't get as much love as he should I think he's lost a bunch of those big fights, but it's like he was in them though. You know what I mean? He
Oh
made
yeah,
some of those big fights what they were because he's just a dog in there, man. He is
yeah.
so vicious. Yeah, that fight with Risty was nuts because he was like basically knocked out, and then he just caught him out of the blue. There it was like the fifth round too, wasn't it? Wasn't it late in their fight?
I think so. Yeah, I think he was like running
Man,
out of time.
yeah,
Yeah,
David is he's another fucking awesome guy. That little I miss that little, there was like a little time like 2015 to 2017 where I swear we had like that was like almost like a new golden era for Muay Thai and kickboxing because Glory was like making their move here to the United States and they were putting on all these epic tournaments for like those huge checks, and so people were like fighting for their lives on those tournaments and stuff like that, and they were just packing it. And Lion Fight was like, had Kevin Ross and had Tiffany, and it was just like that was such a special time. It was like a 2-year window that was like such a great time to be a Muay Thai and kickboxing fan in America. And things went the way they did with uh Glory kind of slowed down and did what they're doing, and they're starting to kind of come back up. And it's exciting to see Lion Fight kind of making their way back a little bit now too. I'm glad they're on Fight
yeah,
Pass because I think that's going to be a great move for them. And hopefully we're heading back in that direction again with because that was such an
yeah,
exciting time, man, for a couple of
yeah.
years. So
Yeah, it was
kickboxer
cool to see
wise,
Eddie,
oh man, yeah, Eddie was
Eddie and
awesome.
Abraham.
And Abraham, yeah, I knew that was gonna be a good.
Yeah,
I was like a bull and a mat versus a matador, huh?
yeah, it really was. Yeah, it really was.
Because
Yeah,
Abraham's
Eddie was
definitely a
flowing.
bull, and
Yeah,
Eddie's just Ole. He's a smooth, defense and great counters, and yeah, he's me and him have It's funny because I'm sure you've seen the movie Barbershop. There's this scene in Barbershop where he's giving him a shave or getting ready to give him a shave, and then he does it, and he's like, and see, now he's real smooth like Gary Coleman. And so I have this thing where I'm always like, if somebody does something smooth, I'll be like, oh, that's Gary Coleman right there. And nobody ever gets it. Like nobody ever thinks it's funny. And I just usually just kind of say it to myself, you know. And one day we were at CSA, and he did something, and I was like, oh yeah, that's some Gary Coleman shit. And he started busting out laughing. I was like, you know what I'm talking about? And he was like, yes, bro. He's like, I say the same shit. He's like, I say that's Gary Coleman all the time. So we have had, ever since we've had this thing, I'm like, oh, you Gary Coleman right now, hashtag Gary
That's
Coleman. And
hilarious.
yeah, dude, he's very slick, man. That Triumphant's another fucking awesome addition to what's going on right now too, man. It's
Yeah.
exciting to have more opportunities for these guys to stay busy, and especially for some full rules Muay Thai. That's exciting to see some elbows flying and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Kickboxing wise, so besides Petrosian, I'll put you on the spot now. Who's
Mm.
your kickboxer right now that you like to watch?
Mm. All right. Um, Attention, Masakawa,
Oh man,
dude.
yeah,
That kid is next
yeah.
level.
He is
That
so
the way
tight.
that kid moves is next level.
Yeah, he's so tight.
Yeah.
He's super
Yeah.
tight. I
I
hope
want to see him
he
in like
gets
Rod
some kind
Tang.
of more yeah, I would love to see him make the move over to one, especially now that they're gonna start um doing the stuff with, they got their deal with TNT. So I think
Yeah.
there's a good chance that they'll have, even though that's a weird fucking channel, but we got to take what we
Yeah.
can get. That's why I wanted to do the streaming service, because I like it. It would be so nice to just have it all in one place, but one step at a time, we'll get there. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
awesome. The other guy I've been really digging for a while now, and I actually saw him make his debut on, well, not his debut, but his debut for me, it was on Line Fight, Regan Ursel. He fought Smoking Joe Natawa, and it was a crazy thing, because so I felt like Joe Natawa was like a late replacement fight for a title fight on Line Fight at one point, and he won. And then so he kind of like got on like for the public at that time. Like I said, we're the height of Line Fight a little bit, where people were like really watching, and everyone was excited to see whoever they brought on was basically becoming like another star in Muay Thai, because they had that audience. And
Yeah.
then so Joe comes on the scene and he wins. And I felt like, I forgot who he fought the next time, but it was like another fight where he wasn't supposed to win and he did. So it's like, oh damn, like this is the guy, like Joe
Yeah.
Natawa. And
Yeah.
then he was supposed to fight somebody else, and same thing. They pulled out last minute. They bring in this guy Regan Ursel, who at the time I wasn't aware of, and then Regan knocked him out, and I'm like, who the fuck's this guy?
Yeah.
So then I've been following him ever since, and he's been on a tear now too, man. He's vicious. I think there's talks of trying to get because
What's
he's
his name?
over Regan Ursula. He beat Nikki recently. Um, he just fought on the one card with Janet too. I think he was the main event.
Oh, okay. Yeah. 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 I know what you mean.
Man, he's dope. Check him out. I mean, he's
Yeah.
dope, super dope. He got so uh the crazy thing was with Joe Natawat, and one thing, I'm a big left kick guy. I love the left kick, especially if you're trying to shut down somebody who's a boxer. I like that left kick across the
Hmm.
arms, particularly because if they're blocking, they're not punching, right? And then they have that threat of, well, if I let my hands go, then I'm not blocking. That means my body's open. I got to watch out for the liver kick. So always have been a really big left kick fan, and
Yeah.
Joe Natawat has really awesome timing for that left kick, where um, he would kind of like lean a little bit forward and wait for them to throw the 1-2, and he would just lean out of the way
Hmm.
and get all his weight on his back foot, so he could whip that kick in there and either catch them across the body or
Yeah.
force them to abandon their cross and get back on the block. But one of the things I
Yeah.
always tell teach my guys, I'm like, you can't fall forward off of your left kick unless you're attacking. Like you should have enough weight on
Right.
your back leg to put that front foot back down on the floor on your own terms and be able to check or get back on defense. And because if you're falling forward, you could fall into a strike. So Regan like picked up on it, you could tell. And so he threw the punches, drew out the left kick, and then what he did was he like blocked it and he threw a right hook that you could tell he like knew was gonna miss because I think he had missed one before, but he threw the right hook and then the head kick was right behind it. So Joe like slipped out of the way and then it was like wham, then the kick just kind of came in because he was catching him falling down off of the kick.
Yeah.
So he was throwing the kick and then
Yeah.
falling forward. So he threw the hook and Joe missed it, but the head kick was right behind it. Super fucking smart. And like, if you're a guy like you and me that really like dig into the detail and watch all those little small, tiny,
Yeah.
you're like,
You
you
know, he was
spot
studying.
stuff like that. You're like, damn, this guy's fucking smart. Like went
Yeah.
through thought enough steps ahead. Okay, I'll throw the punch combination to draw out the kick. And after he kicks, I'm going to throw this punch that I know is going to miss, but he's not going to be able to get out of the way of the head kick though. I love shit like that. Yeah. So check him out, man. He's fucking smart. He beat Nikki twice on one.
Yeah. Yeah. I needed a face.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about when you saw him, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. He's fucking
I just
awesome,
need to see his
man.
face.
He's fucking awesome. What about YouTube? Who do you watch on YouTube? Like not even fight related. Do you have like a channel that you like to like jump on and watch content?
It's funny. Like I don't consume a lot of content.
Yeah. So you probably don't have a ton
I'm like one of those people
either,
that watch like the same 5 movies.
Yeah.
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 Like I like Juji Mufu. Who I've done a couple of videos with. He's like 245 bodybuilder, but like has a black belt in Taekwondo and like does a lot of gymnastics. So he's like he'll like deadlift 1,000,000 pounds and then do like a backflip. Like he's insane.
Yeah, Juju's awesome. I know
he's
you're
an
talking
anomaly. So
yeah,
Juji Mufu is always fun to watch. Yeah, Juji Mufu.
Shout out Juji Mufu. I'll put a link up
the
for
occasional
him.
Joe Rogan clips.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, like if I'm on YouTube, I'm watching like Alan Watts videos and stuff like that. Like I don't really follow like creators much.
Yeah, it's probably good too because you probably don't want to either like let any of it influence any of the stuff that you do either. I'm sure, like even not necessarily influence you in the way that you'd be like, oh, I'm gonna try to steal that stuff, but I mean like even like you don't want it to creep in. I feel like sometimes I'm like that too, where like I'll see somebody do something. We kind of talked about it a little bit here too, where I kind of felt like I had that idea, and then I'm like, damn, I don't want to do it now because they kind of did it too. So it might be good for that. Good for that too. What about Instagram? Do you have like an Instagram account that you like to jump on for like any type of content?
One's is good. One shares a lot of clips. They'll share the results, the knockouts. Juji's is good too.
Yeah, I like that. Yep.
Trying to think of a good one. Light is consciousness. If people are into like deeper thinking, like they'll share a lot of like mathematical, psychedelic, psychological. That's a fun one. If any of those words are of interest, that's a fun one. Light is consciousness.
What is it again? Light is consciousness, you said?
Light is consciousness.
All right, cool. I'll check
it out. Definitely not fight related.
I'll link them out. No, that's good. I feel like we need a break from fight related stuff. That's one of my favorite Instagram.
Yeah, right.
There's a they have art. It's like RDC World is like their main thing, but the one that I always look at it's called like Supreme Dreams. They do like comedy skits. They do like a lot of like funny anime stuff. They're like basketball fans, so I don't even follow basketball as much anymore. But they do LeBron a lot. And they did this one where like Kyrie and James Harden got traded to the Nets or whatever, and they were acting like the one guy was acting like he was LeBron, and he got all mad about it and like called Kyrie, and he's like, "Are you scared or something? Why you need James?" Super funny, man. They make a lot of really just hilarious, like
Yeah, yeah.
I'm shocked that these guys don't have their own TV show yet, like Chappelle Show, like skit, like comedy level stuff. Super super funny, and
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
if you're like I don't know if you watch much anime, but if you're like an anime guy, they do a lot of like anime related stuff too that makes it really funny too. It's
Oh,
Supreme.
sick.
I'll send you a tag of it. Some of their videos
Yeah,
are hilarious, man. Or not some, all of them are.
yeah.
But yeah, I'll have to send you a link to that one. Just check it out.
Cool.
What's like one or two of your ones that you just continuously are able to watch over and over?
I'm on a kick right now with Willy Wonka. I watch Willy
Nice.
Wonka like every day
The
for a week
original one,
straight. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
not the Johnny Depp one.
Yeah, Gene
Yeah.
Wilder.
Yeah. That's
There's
awesome.
so much sage advice in that,
Yeah.
and it reminds you to like tap into your imagination and childhood.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's, if you haven't watched that in the past 5 years, you got to go back and watch Willy
Yeah, I
Wonka.
love Willy Wonka. I watched that
Yeah,
the shit out of that because that's one of
yeah,
those ones I love those movies that are able to make you feel like you want to live in that place. You know, like
yeah,
you want
yeah,
to go
yeah.
to the factory or
Exactly.
something like that. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
sick. Yeah, I
And then the
haven't. I
one
don't.
movie,
It probably has been over 5 years. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it then.
yeah,
I'm on that.
yeah, hell yeah. And then the one movie I've probably seen more than any other movie is Terminator 2.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
a
That's
classic.
another one where like you want to be in that movie. You want to be,
100%. Yeah,
on the chase
100%.
with them.
You just want, yeah, you want your own Terminator. Uh, you want your dirt bike, you know, your little keyboard so you
Yep.
can hack into the ATM.
Yep. Easy money.
Go break out your mom from the insane asylum, hit the road. Like I wanted to go right back in and watch it again. That
Yeah.
movie was like
Yeah.
that was like the biggest movie of all times when that one came out, because there was like
Yeah.
the special effects were awesome, like everything about that movie was amazing.
It holds
Arnold
up
was
too.
awesome. What's that?
It holds up.
It
Like
does, man.
I tell
Yeah.
people now that are like under 20, I'm like, I know you probably hear this about like every other movie, but I'm telling you, you will love Terminator 2. It
Yeah.
won't be some corny old action movie.
No.
Yeah.
No, because I feel like they use a lot of practical effects, which over time holds up really well. And then even
Yeah.
just doing shooting on sets more. That was one of the things, like late 90s, early 2000s, when they started figuring out CGI, they got carried away and started making like the whole background in so many
Yeah.
places. And that shit didn't hold up because the CGI gotten so much better. And you go back and
Yeah.
look at some of those movies, like, God, this is fucking trash.
Yeah.
But yeah, they used sets and they shot on locations. And yeah, that movie's amazing, man.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
so cool. Anytime you get the guy who was supposed to be the bad guy in the last one's now like the good guy, and he's like helping. And I think the original Terminator movie and even like Predator and stuff like that, like I always love watching them, but they make me anxious because the villain is so OP that it's like, how are they gonna fucking win? But
Yeah.
that one was more fun because you're like, well, they got a guy who can at least like rumble with this guy, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely made it more exciting. That's a great pick, man. I love that movie. What about video games? Are you a gamer at all?
I'm playing Fortnite, believe it or not.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, because me and my wife play. It's split screen now,
Uh-huh.
and she's like she's good. So
Oh, damn.
we'll run duos, and yeah, we'll play. You know, we'll play like 5-6 games in a row.
That's badass.
It's fun, dude.
Have you guys been playing it the whole time, or did you get on it more recently?
Yeah, I've been playing it for a couple of years.
Nice.
Like before they had like custom skins and stuff. I was playing it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Damn, that's
and
awesome.
I love the concept because I grew up playing like Unreal Tournament,
Mhm.
Halo, like a lot of first person shooters.
Yeah.
And then I like third person shooters, and
Yeah.
the concept of like 100-person battle royale is awesome.
Yeah.
So like if people are like, I don't play Fortnite, that's for kids, you know,
Right.
like try to look past all like the emotes and the TikTok dances and the skins, but it's a
Yeah.
fun game, man. Like the controls are good, the
Yeah.
concept's pretty simple to get down. Building's tough, but But yeah,
Yeah,
I
that
like
looks
Fortnite.
wild. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to get on Fortnite yet. We talked about it a little bit last week with Tafon. I had Tafon and Chouani on. He's a UFC fighter. He we both kind of had the same thing where I'm like, I know if I get a new game, like I get sucked in and it's hard
Yeah,
for me to like want to do anything else but play that video game. It's like a
yeah,
drug. So I'm like very selective. I'll wait till something comes out that I'm like, I gotta fucking play that game, and I'll get it, and I get sucked in. It's like when Spider-Man, that newer Spider-Man for PS4 first came
hmm,
out like a year or so ago, I was glued to the TV for weeks on that one because obviously that's like I I felt like I got to like live my best fantasy life ever for the first time and like be Spider-Man because you can literally just like you can just fire it up and just go swing around the city and stop
it's like
crime and
open world.
it's yeah, man. You can just cruise around the city. You can go to Queens and like swing around Manhattan, check out the park. Like it's tight, man. You just climb up a building and like look around, dive off of there and swing and
That's
man, yeah.
sick.
So if you're a big Spider-Man fan, it's like your only opportunity in life that you're actually gonna get to kind of feel like you are him for a little while, man. It's really
That's
sick.
awesome. That's
That
awesome.
and then I'm also a huge like samurai ninja fan.
Yeah.
So Ghost of Tsushima came out, man. That joint sucked me in because same thing.
Okay.
It's kind of open world, and you can unlock different like samurai outfits. You jump on your horse and just ride around and just fight bandits and save towns and stuff like
Oh,
that. Like,
sick. That
yeah,
sounds
if
awesome.
you've ever wanted to be a samurai in your life, like that's and you it has ninja abilities too. So like you have the option of like all right, I'm gonna sneak into this town and like creep up on everybody and like slit their
Yeah.
throats, or you can just roll up in there like a gangster and like pull your sword out and just fight everybody like with some honor. You know what I
Well,
mean?
dude, growing up, Tenchu,
Yeah,
you ever play
Tenchu.
Tenchu? Was
It's
my favorite.
it's like what you would want Tenchu to be now. I'm telling
Oh,
you,
really?
dude. If
Oh,
you
send me the name of this when we finish
Ghost of
up.
Tsushima, I'll make sure I send it to you. I'll fucking buy you
Okay.
a copy if you want me
All
to.
right.
Like, man, I'm telling you, Tenchu. If you love Tenchu, I feel like people didn't know Tenchu, but the people that do, I'm like, if you love Tenchu, like this is your game. So imagine Tenchu, but you have the option if you, like I said, if you want to, like you don't get penalized for just walking into the village and like pulling your sword out and just going for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing, man. It's
Oh,
amazing.
sick.
And it has that more of that. It's not like I feel like Tenchu, you had like a level that you like went to and you had to, you beat it. And if you didn't like how you beat it, you kind of did it over again. This
Right.
one's like you can just ride around to all the different towns and
Yeah.
there's like a whole because you're fighting in it too. Mongols. It's fucking samurai versus Mongols. It's like the tightest shit ever. It's like during the Mongol invasion of Japan. So you're like
Oh,
fighting
sick.
Mongolian fighters, dude. It's so tight, man. You're
I'm
gonna love
sold.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna love it. You're gonna get sucked in. And they have a multiplayer option too where you and your wife could jump on there and do some missions and stuff like that too. They have like a
Oh,
whole
what?
separate multiplayer thing too where you guys can do missions
Oh,
together well,
no,
awesome,
I know.
man. So listen, I like I said, this was a lot of fun. I really appreciate you coming on. I know you don't really do podcasts. You're a freaking giant in this industry, and we all appreciate everything that you do for the sport because you're a great ambassador and the way you do things getting more attention on what we do. We need more people like you. We need influencers that are influencing people to you know look at Muay Thai, look at kickboxing. Obviously, I know you focus on boxing and MMA too, but yeah, I just wanted to let you know I appreciate everything you do in general, and then take the time out and come on the show means so much to me, man. You got a loyal soldier, fight tip soldier for life out of me for sure.
Nah, man. I appreciate it. It was a pleasure coming on here, and I'm no giant, man. It's the community that's the giant, and I'm just really happy to have people like you and everyone else who support. Because like I said, it's collaboration. We got to do it all together. So
yeah,
rock and roll, man.
Awesome. You got any shout outs or anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Nah.
You're all set.
Nah.
Yeah, you don't. We
yeah.
Check out Fight Tips.
Level up.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Yeah, level up and Fight Tips. There you go.
Level up, Fight Tips.
All right, man. Tell Aaron I said hello.
I will, brother.